The Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 absolutely blew me away after the first run, but I knew a shoe of this caliber couldn't be judged based on just the one run. We had to do a speed test and a long run test, so that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today. Last week I took the shoe out for a good old sub-threshold workout and a really decent long run, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with you guys on how it performed. What's up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here, back with another video, an exciting one today to share an update on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. So we'll start with the speed workout. What we'll do is we'll talk about what the purpose of the speed workout was within my marathon plan, how the shoe felt, and if I felt it was a really good fit for that type of work. And we'll do the same again for the long run. I'll give you an idea of what was on the plan. I'll tell you how it performed and whether it was really good or really bad. And I'll hopefully just give you an all-round picture, because now we've done a moderate run, a speed test and a long run test, and also put 45 miles in the shoe already. So let's dive into this straight away guys. If you're excited for the video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and let's kickstart with a speed test. So on the plan that day was a double day. I had my usual sub-threshold workout in the morning and then an interval workout in the evening. Now this shoe nearly got the nod for both of those workouts that day. I was lacing up when the UPS truck turned up with my Nike Pegasus Turbo Next % Natures, so I ended up taking those out for the evening session and kind of regretting that decision. I wish I'd rather taken this thing out, but that aside, I took it out on the sub-threshold workout. So the purpose of that was just to get a decent effort in, 5:45 pace. I think that was the average pace for the session, 3 by 10 minutes. And then we had a 2-minute like jog recovery. I ended up doing that with Lee. We're both in London marathon training at the moment. And that's a workout I tend to do in something like the Brooks Hyperion Tempo, or more recently, I've been using the Nike Zoom Fly 5. So with that sort of pace in mind and my goal marathon pace being in and around 6 flat, this was going to be slightly faster than marathon pace. Plus we were on the trail. So in terms of effort, we're probably talking more like 5:35s to 5:40 per mile if we were translating that on to flat road. So basically the purpose was taking it out there on the nice flat buffed out trails and just giving it a good run out. Obviously when I say trails, you've got to understand these are fire track trails. They're very runnable. I use all my road shoes out there. This is no exception. I've taken the Alpha Flies and everything there. So I've got to say this thing was absolutely phenomenal. It was just brilliant. Light as a feather, smooth, poppy. You're going to hear me rant and rave a lot about this shoe by the end of this video, but I have to say in that area, in that pace range, it really came alive, which I think is why I actually said in the London marathon training video, and I think in my previous video, that I might end up racing in these shoes sooner rather than later, because I just fancy giving them a good go. They're everything that I wanted the Pro to become from testing the version 1. I didn't test version 2, but they're bouncier, they're softer. I feel like they're more responsive. And I just kind of want to get out there on the concrete, on the tarmac, and really give them a good thrashing. So that might be coming to the channel sooner rather than later. So stay tuned for that. But that was a 3 by 10 minutes. That was the goal, that was the purpose, and we executed that one really well. So then came the long run. That weekend, or last weekend just gone, I knew that I'd been running 2 hour 30 minutes. I'm doing a time block for London Marathon at the moment, and 2 hour 30 minutes is where I've been sitting for the last fair few long runs really. And I knew that in the last 6 weeks, the ante needed to be upped and things needed to go a little bit further. So my goal for that long run was really to get 2:30, but ideally go to 2:35 or 2:40. So this shoe was going to get one hell of a run out, and it did. We got to 2 hours 40 minutes. I think it was 23.8 miles, 38k, 39k, whatever the conversion is. I'm not very good, apologies. And I think the pace was 6:43 per mile, or 4:06, 4:07, 4:08 per k, something like that. And it was just a really good, started moderate, progressed down close to marathon pace workout. So what I ended up doing with this shoe was once again doing the same fire track trails as I did with the 3 by 10 minutes on our local cycle track loop. I then came off that around mile 12 and jumped out onto the tarmac, and I did 2 10k loops, which consisted of probably realistically around 3.5, 4 miles I'd say of tarmac, and then just 2 miles of those light trails again. So I really got to test it, and that was going through my mind at the time. I was mentally, fatigue was there, and I just wanted to run a little bit faster. I felt like things were a bit sluggish, and I felt I'm not doing this shoe justice. This isn't where I need to be. I need to get out there, get on the concrete and see how we roll. And my goodness, we rolled. When we got onto the concrete, as I said, we were moving close down to marathon pace, and it felt so good. The overall heart rate for the run was ridiculously low. I think it was like 147 beats a minute or something crazy. And bearing in mind in the last 3 or 4 miles we were splitting 608, 609, 610 in that low 16s area. I think the heart rate was getting into the late 150s, early 160s. It was just nuts. Now for me, that's just quite an achievement, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not normally that low, but this shoe proved to me how efficient it was by absolutely nailing 2 hours 40 minutes, feeling good, feeling fresh, not feeling ruined for the rest of the day, basically just ticking the miles off. I suffered no hot spots, no blisters, no rubbing, no nothing. It was an absolute pleasure from start to finish. So I've got to say, it passed the long run test with flying colours. So in terms of an overall package, an overall thought, an overall mark score, whatever you want to call it, I think this thing is damn near perfect. From my first video, I can see a lot of you guys love the shoe. I totally get it. I understand. This is massive, massive improvements, in my opinion, from Saucony. I think there's two things, two areas of testing that I need to finish off. Not that I'll do another video about it, because I feel like I've done enough conclusive testing to know that this shoe is pretty special. But an interval workout is something that I really want to do in this shoe, and that will probably happen this week. If you want to know how that goes, maybe stick around for the week 9 of the week 8, sorry, of the London Marathon training series. That'll be dropping this weekend. I'll talk a little bit about it in there, and if I don't mention it, you'll be able to see me in the workout, see how the workout goes. And as always with those videos, I'll give feedback on how the workout does go, how I'm feeling, all of that stuff. So that's one area that I feel I need to just kind of finish off the testing. And the second is racing. I mean, I don't get to test too many racing shoes. They're mainly Nike, mainly because they do my size. I am a UK size 13. I do suffer with some brands not doing my size in racing shoes. Asics, Brooks, I'm trying to think who else. But realistically, the people that I can get racing shoes from are Nike, Saucony, Hoka. Some others do size 13s, but in my opinion, they're not quite as exciting. I think Adidas, kudos to Adidas, they've dropped their Pro 3 this year in a 13, so that's good. But, oh look, just got my step goal for the day, being articulate with my, with my arms. So yeah, I don't get to test that many racing shoes. And when I do test them, I always get them in and think, are they going to be as good as the Nike racing shoes? I love the Vaporfly, I love the Alphafly, and I'm just never that inclined to test them in a race. But this is completely different. I am tunnel vision on testing this thing at some point. Obviously, I don't have many races between now leading up to London. In fact, I've got one and that's it. So it might get a run out of that race. In fact, I'd really love to, because I'm saving the Alphafly for London Marathon race day. So it could well get a run out at the race that is coming up very, very soon. So I'm excited to test that out there. But overall, from the testing I've done, moderate run, 2 hour, 40 minute long run, speed test with the 3x10 minute intervals. I just got to give it a good thumbs up, top marks, damn near perfect. So there we go, those are my overall thoughts on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 after 3 runs and 45 miles. 45 very, very good miles. Of course, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. For me personally, I'm in a position now where I've got one more race. I'm probably going to choose the Pro 3 to race in it, and I'm going to make a decision at that point whether I continue to stack up the miles in the shoe for the rest of the London Marathon training block, because don't get me wrong, this is going to be, although it's a carbon plated racing shoe, it will be a darn good marathon training shoe as well, so I might end up using it more for that. But if the race goes well and I feel that this shoe has that je ne sais quoi and I absolutely love it, then I will be shelving that shoe and saving it for race day. Because being brutally honest, and if you follow the channel you'll know my thoughts on this, the Next Percent 1 was incredible. The Next Percent 2, they did something to that foam. It went firmer, more plasticky. It certainly didn't quite have that bounce that the version 1 had. And obviously I can't get the version 1 anymore. So I'm stuck with Next Percent version 2. Not that I dislike that shoe, I still run in it, I've been racing in it, I still enjoy it. I just know it's not quite as good as version 1. But this softness in the Pro 3 feels very darn close to what was in the Next Percent one. So if this really takes my fancy and it does well at the race, I could well be finding a new racing shoe that is breaking through, because I've been a Nike racing shoe fan for 2 or 3 years now. I've only really exclusively used the Next Percent and the Alphas. I've used the original Pro one a couple of times, but that's it. It's mainly been the Nike one. So be nice if this Saucony broke through and started to become a bit of a mainstay in the racing shoe rotation. But anyway, as I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How have you been using it? How have you been training in it? Have you raced in it? Where do you find this shoe's sweet spot? Is it the long run, speed test, moderate runs? Drop a comment down below. Let's get that discussion going, and I'd love to hear how you've been using it. That's it from me today though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then.